Nole insiders Lane Hurt and Tim Linnefelt here with you right after Jimbo Fisher talked to the media on Thursday evening. Big news from the injury report. As you can see, all the usual names there. Derwin James still there, and the addition on that out for this game, Bobo Wilson, certainly changes things like we've kind of talked about and hinted at all week. If he wasn't going to play, it kind of shakes up the wide receiver depth chart a little bit.
It does, and it's not really a surprise. We all kind of suspected, especially as the week wore on, that Bobo Wilson, we knew he wasn't practicing, which means we knew that he likely wasn't going to play. And so now today's news just confirms it. I'm interested to see exactly what Florida State does there. I think conventional wisdom suggests that Auden Tate's going to see an increase in snaps. But Jimbo Fisher mentioned a couple different guys today, including Devontae Phillips and Naquan Murray. And all three of those guys sort of do different things and have different physical abilities. Auden Tate obviously is probably the best red zone threat. Devontae Phillips may be your best blocker and have the best hands. And then Naquan Murray is maybe the fastest and most elusive of that bunch. So it probably depends on what Florida State wants to do. I still think Auden Tate's probably going to be the leader as far as snaps and most playing time. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if those other guys had a role to play on Saturday as well.
Yep. We'll have much more for you the rest of this week. Tim will have his 1st and 10. We'll have your Nole Insiders game preview, 3 keys to victory. Tim, you want to give a little sneak peek?
Yeah, I think one of the things we talked about and that I think is going to be something to keep an eye on Saturday is the field position battle. Florida State has had a hard time at times defending punt returns. And this is the kind of game, if you're going to win and going to beat the undefeated number 3 team in the country, you're going to have to win the field position battle. You're going to need your offense to play on some short fields, and conversely, you're going to need their offense to play on a few long fields. And however you want to do that, whether it's through kicking, turnovers, whatever the case may be, I think that's a really nice way for Florida State to gain an advantage if they can find a way to do it on Saturday.
Nole's 5th in the nation in punt returns, which also leads to the guy who's out, Bobo Wilson. Murray will also be taking his place as a punt returner, so there's that dynamic as well.
Yeah, and that's why you've seen at the end of a few games this year, get to the 4th quarter, and Jimbo Fisher would trot Naquan Murray out there to get him some reps there. You never know when they're going to come in handy, so you at least know that when you throw Naquan out there that he has some experience both in practice and in games, so he's not quite as green as he might otherwise be. And like we said, we saw him in fall practice, and there were times when I thought he looked fantastic. Maybe one of the fastest, most elusive players with the ball in his hands. And if you can get him going with a head of steam and maybe get lost in some of those blockers and some of those other players on the field, maybe he can make something happen.
There you have it, Seminole fans. A lot of great content for you still coming up, so make sure you check it all out. For Tim, I'm Lane. Go Noles.